Well, sequel time already, huh? Welcome back, I guess. So last video I uploaded shared my top 5 favorite unused Spider-Man movie suits throughout the years, and logically the next best thing to do would be to share 5 of the worst unused Spider-Man suits in my opinion. If you haven't seen that video, I do recommend checking it out, whether you want to do that now in order to watch these videos back to back or afterwards. Either way works fine for me. In this video I'll be sharing some of the worst concept art designs for Spider-Man costumes throughout the years, ranging from the many years of film as well as some that may have been more than a drawing on a page. These suits will be ranked 5 through 1, with 1 being what I consider to be the worst unused Spider-Man movie suit, and while you might like a design on this list, keep in mind that this is an opinion and we all have our own taste when it comes to design. So with that, let's begin the sequel to the top 5 unused Spider-Man movie suits, the top 5 worst unused Spider-Man movie suits. Number 5. Jared Kurzewski's Miles Morales design for The Amazing Spider-Man 2. While the design itself may not be that bad, it makes this list due to the context of the film and what could have happened if this design ended up being the final design used in the worst Spider-Man film. This film's Spider-Man is Peter Parker, not Miles Morales. I find it ridiculous that this design was even considered in the first place. This would be like giving Tony Stark the War Machine armor or Bruce Wayne the Robin suit. This isn't Peter's suit. Into the Spider-Verse was the first big screen appearance for Miles Morales, and if this design were to be used in TASM 2, then it takes away the impact of Miles making his own costume. For some viewers, that was the first time they heard of Miles Morales and saw this costume. Using it for another character prior would be ridiculous. Overall, the design is okay as far as what I think a live-action Miles Morales suit would have been. One thing I do like is the spider emblems and the sleeve detailing, but the things that throw me off about this costume is the boot pattern and the web pattern on the back of the mask. I think a more traditional look on the mask would have been better. It looks weird seeing that without the lenses, and it looks like some of the cheap Spider-Man figures and costumes sold at your local black market. And while the design is okay with a few issues from myself, it makes this list because this isn't Peter Parker's costume, and it would have added more to the flaws this film has. Number 4. The original black suit design for Spider-Man 3. Okay, another design that isn't that bad and could have been fixed with a few adjustments, but this suit would have looked ridiculous on screen. While the design draws clear inspiration from the comics, this looks like it's from the Spider-Man film your parents won't let you watch. The material used on the costume looks awful, and I don't understand why the studio didn't consider using the same material for the classic suit but in black. I also don't think this costume looks well with the lenses and emblem. I feel like the design would have looked off with this type of material used on the costume, from the leather-like suit and shiny material. Overall, this costume just doesn't look like it would translate well on screen. And while you may prefer the classic design, I think we can all agree that this specific transition of the classic design would have looked terrible. There's a way better way to adapt this costume, and this isn't how you do it. And if you want to learn more about this suit, then I have a whole video discussing it in detail that will be linked in the description of this video. Number 3. 3 of Eddie Yang's designs for The Amazing Spider-Man. So I grouped these together since they're done in a similar fashion and by the same artist, but come on. These are all equally terrible. I think the thing I don't like about these costumes is the lenses along with the odd color scheme and how it looks like there's no depth to each suit, resulting in it looking like one big mess. And I also don't like how on one suit the red transitions to black. I don't see the need for that fade, and overall, these designs just look awful. I know you need to try different things for a reboot, but at least keep them to tradition. The only thing that makes these costumes look like Spider-Man is the red and blue. Other than that, there's really nothing going for them that I like. I think the cape is cool on one concept, but that's because it reminds me of Spider-Man Unlimited, a show I don't like, but the suit in there is alright. Number 2. Florent Auguy's designs for Into the Spider-Verse. Thank God neither of these designs made it to the final film. If you thought Spider-Man with a cape looked bad or a talking pig, this would have been one of the worst costumes in Spider-Man films ever to be more than just an idea. I get it. This is supposed to be a representation of a homemade version of Miles' costume, but come on, you couldn't have tried a bit harder than this? The inconsistency with the cardboard makes no sense to me, along with the paint on the leg, which is supposed to represent a bullet wound, I guess. It looks like he's wearing shorts over one of the costumes in this picture, and the visor is killing me on this costume, which is over the mask I might add, and includes lenses drawn onto the tint. Miles is a teenager in this film. This looks like something a little kid would have made, or this looks like something out of a TV show where they're trying to make the character a costume that doesn't resemble one of the more known superheroes. Surely some idiot thinks this looks good, and I know I'm missing the point of it being homemade, but compare this to the other homemade Spider-Man costumes throughout the years, and you tell me how good this looks stacked up against those. If it wasn't for number 1, this would have been absolutely number 1. Both are terrible designs, and thank God the stores in this film sold Spider-Man costumes. Finally, number 1, Ed Natividad's design for The Amazing Spider-Man. Now, I couldn't figure out if this was meant for TASM 1 or 2, but the original image is dated for 2010, so I'm going to assume that this was for the first TASM film. This is fucking disgusting. This looks like how you'd look if your skin peeled off. There's a reason why you don't try to change what's been working for years too much or reinvent a classic design. Just imagine the reaction this would have gotten if this were to be the main suit in a reboot that nobody asked for. There's really nothing about this design that I like. It's that bad. This looks like a diagram of the human body showcasing where your blood flows or some shit like that. This looks like it would have been for the villain of the film and not the hero. There's a spider logo hidden in the costume along with webbing, but even so, this doesn't add to the costume being good. Once again, thank God this suit was never used. As much as people dislike the first TASM suit for reinventing the classic design, at least it still looked like Spider-Man. This looks terrible. So there you have it, my top 5 worst unused Spider-Man movie suits throughout film history. Let me know what you guys thought of the video and share your personal favorite bad suit from this video with me down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. It does mean a lot that there are people looking forward to these type of videos from me, and if you made it this far, thank you for sticking around. And as always, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, follow my social medias, and I will see you guys again in my next video.